Hello there folks, SeKo Starcraft bringing you Game 2 between Revival and Scarlett. We watched Game 1 just a moment ago. Worth checking out there. I thought it was a really good play out of both players there. And then I'll wait a few seconds to make sure I'm not spoiling it for anybody. We're on the 2-player version of this 4-player originally map. Kinda like it. It was kinda fun. Now what was really interesting about that first game is I thought Revival bought himself a really good lead early on with a ling and a baneling pressure. Didn't get a ton of damage in, but was able to delay a lot of mining. But he kind of walked away from there with a lot of army he couldn't use. Was down a few workers still, and then made his lair slower, his gases slower, his third base about the same time. And then we just saw Scarlett kind of start pulling ahead with really smart play with her mutas. Just being able to take out a couple of extra kills, hit some more overlords, getting some damage on some workers, and those little tiny things added up to what seemed to be like a really convincing win from Scarlett by the end of it there. Just being able to manage a better economy, even though they're on 6 gases each, her mineral income was so much better that it just allowed her to make all these extra lings to go in and do damage while that was happening. So we'll see if the play is going to change up. This is not a 4-player map, but it's still a long rush map. We'll see if they both want to go for the hatcheries first. I believe that's going to be the case. Yes. So I'm going to be trucking along just fine here. Oh, I was about to say, I thought that was rally down across the map. Maybe it'd be a big Zergling all in. But I don't really know. Looks like Revival will be going for a 14 pool after that. 15 pool for Scarlett. Ain't no thing. This might tell you there's some sort of pressure coming in off of this, but if that was the case, I'd have expected a gas already taken by one of these players. That is not the case. So we'll see what their intentions are. ZvZ's a matchup that I hated playing so much that I never spent a lot of time figuring out the really great building timings that you'd want to go for certain types of rushes. More about how do you play just a smart, kind of hold it together game until you get into that perfect composition. Scarlett is starting her gas. Still gasless over here for Revival. Overlord seems a little delayed for Revival. I don't know if anybody else is getting that feeling. Got Queen C. Well, he's making his queen now. He's doing alright. Oh, Scarlett that was missing his Overlord. That's right. Not delayed by too much, but both of those queens started a little bit later than what I think she would have wanted to. Couple of lings started there out of Revival. Their colors were different in the last game, that's why I kind of got mixed up. We should be seeing speed here fairly soon out of Scarlett. So Overlords, yeah, it's going to be able to make it by. I was going to say it's a little risky, but she knows her timings well enough that she should be able to just squeeze past this queen coming out here and get to safety. Kind of a fascinating place to put an Overlord. I don't know if I necessarily understand it, unless it's for a very late game scout. Ideally, you'd kind of want it somewhere where it shows any types of units rushing across the map. Wow, that Overlord took a lot more of a beating than I thought it would. But it got out of there just fine. Lots of extra queens out right now for Revival. Kind of interesting. I wonder what this is going to lead into. It's still gasless. And he's going up to 4 queens here. Now he's going to start 2 of his gases up. But at this point, Scarlett's already got her speed more than halfway done. Still making a big pile of drones. Let's look at the unit count. We do have a lead for Revival, but we have a big pile of drones just about to bust for Scarlett, who is now supply blocked again. That happens to me probably more with Zerg than anybody else, and it just seems to be the race that supply blocking feels so sucky with, because you need to use larva. So if you just make like a whole bunch of stuff and you have no larva left and you're supply blocked, you're just kind of sitting around, hand up your butt waiting for something to happen. So the Roach Warren is on the way. This is kind of that interesting, speedless play. We'll see if it's going to be speedless still. And just going straight into Roach, kind of the Hyun style. Extra queens, delayed gases, and then go heavy into the tier 2 kind of tech. On this side, with Zergling speed finished and a Roach Warren slightly behind it, and other gases, I think Scarlett should be just fine. This build, when it is finished up, should allow Hyun to move, not Hyun, Revival to move into a third base, I would assume. Because they're both going roaches, I don't think there's going to be a Spire. It would be very surprising for me to see a Spire pop out of this. The lair is finished quite a bit sooner here for Scarlett. Let's see if she makes use out of that in any way. She's starting an Overseer, but that might mean she'll just trigger her roach speed a little bit quicker. Just to, yeah, there it is. Give her that little bit of extra mobility. So many Overlords out on the map. Maybe this just isn't a really big map for mutas or something, because that would seem like a lot of things you could pick off. Alright, so they both have the +1 on the way, slightly ahead for Scarlett. Her third base is done way, way, way in advance. I was going to be a little surprised if those queens started pushing across. This is really interesting that she's managed to be able to take a much greedier setup on this here. Still popping roaches. Upgrades are the same. The only difference here is there is the +1 carapace going at the same time here for Revival, but he's down quite a bit in supply. Very delayed on this other base. And if we look at the overall worker count, we have an extra 11 out right now, and even more on the way for Scarlett. So if she can just keep going at this pace, she will eventually at some point just be able to outproduce. And it just kind of comes down to timings now with the Zerg. Whether you can hit your roach push when you've got an upgrade advantage, when you've got a big pile of extra units. Because if you push across the map and you don't really have an advantage, the defender's advantage in a lot of cases is just going to ruin you. Defender's advantage means you're closer to your hatches. All the things that spawn will be able to help your army quicker than trying to run across the map. Overseer's going to come in, see what's going on. Kind of a little delayed actually. He sees the roach one and that might be enough. But if it was for some kind of funky tech setup, it would have already been hitting him in the face by now. Alright, overall unit count. Almost tied up in the worker supply now. Roach-wise, pretty good lead right now for Scarlett. 22-8. 7 more on the way. +2 started up. Looks like she's got what she wants to push across. She will be down an upgrade right now. 13 more roaches on the way from a Revival. Still down quite a bit in supply. Let's see if this is going to be enough here from Scarlett to break through. There are no static defenses. The queens will help. Just overwhelming numbers right now, though, from Scarlett. Revival's caught a little bit at a wrong timing. His reinforcements might pop out okay, but he lost a lot of roaches pretty easy there. More roaches streaming across the map. 2-2 immediately started here out of Revival, so he does have a single upgrade advantage. And that means that over time, Scarlett will fall further and further behind because she's not working on her armor at all. I don't think either of them have invested in anything Hydra-based. Nope, there is the Hydra stand down for Revival. I don't know if he's really going to be able to get into a chance to use it here. Really want to use on those cost-effective roaches for a while. Might wait for a +2 and some more roaches. We'll see if she wants to commit to this or not when she does likely know that she has an upgrade disadvantage here. Burrow started up for Scarlett. I like that. Sometimes in these roach plays, you can have a lot of times where your roaches just need to burrow and regen. Top side falling back for Scarlett. Comes in with more reinforcements to the south. She is crushing right now. It looks like there's just going to be way too many numbers here for Scarlett. Big pile of roaches about to pop, but there's just too many overwhelming numbers. They'll just get swarmed coming through here. Interesting work here out of Scarlett. It's just that earlier third base in economy that I think really paid off for her here. And I think she was smart not to try to delay on upgrades, because the longer she waited, the further behind she would have fell. Sniping the roach warren, always a classic move that really screws people over a lot. Roaches down here, starting to hit the economy. Roaches to the north, camping where the units will come out. Units essentially rallying to their death. There's a GG. Scarlett takes what I would consider to be a fairly convincing 2-0 win over Revival. SeKo Starcraft, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll talk to you later.